What is up, everyone? This is Kyle over here at the Horrorphile, coming back with another movie review. Today, I'm actually going to be reviewing the remake to the 2008 film Martyrs. So check it out. Let me know what you guys think. What's up, guys? This is Kyle back over here at the Horrorphile, coming back with another movie review today. Today I'm actually reviewing a movie. I knew from the time that I heard this movie was coming out that I'd be reviewing it, or at least going to check it out. Haven't heard amazing things from people, but and we'll kind of get into my thoughts about it at the end of the review. But I went ahead and checked it out. It is the 2016 remake to the 2008 film Martyrs. This is the original Martyrs. This is the one from 2008, directed by Pascal Laugier. He directed this back then, and this is kind of, in a way, a cult phenomenon, I guess, or I don't know what you would really consider it. It's one of those movies that it shows up on a lot of people's lists for being a disturbing slash, it's a very violent movie with a very deep underlying meaning to it. I've actually reviewed this movie on my Disturbing Movies reviews a while back. I think it's episode 2, so if you want to check out my review for the original Martyrs, check out episode 2 of my Disturbing Movie series. This right here, I actually did a podcast just recently on the original Martyrs, which was about a 3-hour podcast with me, my buddy Mood616, and Double Shot J. That we will be releasing soon. We go super in depth in this movie. I mean, we talk about this movie for about 3 hours, go over the plot of this movie, give you our thoughts on the movie. I rated this movie, I may have rated it a little different in my review, but I actually, after going back and getting a lot more in depth with this movie and seeing it again, I've actually seen this movie several times. Getting in depth with this movie, I did give this movie a 10 out of 10. I don't remember what I gave it back in the my Disturbing Movie series. I know I did review it pretty, quite well, but this is definitely a 10 out of 10 movie with a very deep meaning to it. So I kind of feel going into this remake like I didn't feel like this really needed to be remade, and it was a little soon for a remake. I mean, this came out in 2008. We're fast forward for what 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And we're already getting a remake to this movie, which it's been out for a little while, but still kind of feel like this may have been one that really didn't need a remake. I mean, the violence and the brutality and the underlying meaning to this movie was enough to get the point across in the original. So I don't really see what the remake. Well, I do now, but didn't really see what the remake could have really brought to the table in terms of portraying this any differently. So. To kind of get to the remake, so the remake was obviously came out this year, 2016. It was the remake to, like I said, the 2008 Martyrs by Pascal Laugier. It's directed by Kevin and Michael Goetz, who haven't really done much of anything directorial wise. The only other movie, full length movie they have directed was called Scenic Route, which I've never seen. It came out in 2013. I read the synopsis of it as I was kind of researching a little bit about them. It does look like it may be an interesting type movie. And I may have to check it out, but that's the only other movie they've directed. So they're kind of going into this, they may have a lot of, maybe training under their belt as far as directorial training, but they haven't really done much of anything other than this as far as directorial wise. It was also written by Mark L. Smith. Now, the original one was written and directed by Pascal Laugier, but this movie, as I get into the plot of this movie and kind of explain what this movie's about, it's basically the same exact movie, but there are scenes that are changed. There's a lot of things toward the end of this movie that were not like the original at all. That we'll get into my thoughts here in a minute. And the writer Mark L. Smith, he wrote Vacancy 1 and 2. If you guys remember the Vacancy movies, the first movie had Luke Wilson in it. It was actually a pretty good movie. And he also co-wrote Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. It just came out in the theater not too long ago. I have gotten a chance to see it. It's about almost 3 hours long, and it is amazing. I actually rated that movie a 9.5 out of 10. It's going to be up there with one of the top movies I've seen this year. But yeah, definitely check out Revenant if you haven't seen Revenant. But this movie was distributed. The remake was distributed by Anchor Bay, which Anchor Bay does a lot of, like they did I Spit on Your Grave, and they're putting out a lot of these newer kind of horror movies. So Anchor Bay Horror is the sub title to the company. So kind of getting this movie. If you guys haven't seen the original movie, I'll kind of overlay the movie a little bit too without spoiling anything. Be aware, I may put in some spoilers at the end of this review because it's really hard not to spoil this because there are a lot of significant changes toward the end of the movie. So I'll let you know if I can kind of get into any spoilers. Pretty much this movie is about two characters, Lucy and Anna. Lucy at the beginning of the movie is a character is a young girl. She's getting tortured by a group of people that are unknown, we don't know about. And she escapes. She gets away. So pretty much at the beginning of the movie, shows her being tortured, just like in the original movie. She gets out and escapes. The movie picks up where she goes to an orphanage. She gets put in an orphanage, and she befriends Anna, which is the secondary character. So in the original, so you got Lucy and you got Anna. Lucy is the orphan that got away being tortured. Anna is the one that's at the orphanage that befriends Lucy. So they become friends. They kind of just hang out, talk, become friends. They start to kind of grill Anna about if Lucy's telling her what she went through. I guess with her torture, like the torture and things that she went through. Anna's like, no, she doesn't really tell me much about that. And they kind of fast forward. Lucy's getting all these kind of like paranoid dreams and having all these problems. They fast forward in the future and they're grown up now. And it comes to a scene which is in my opinion, one of the most significant scenes, or I guess one of the most hard-hitting scenes in movie history that I've seen. One of them, not the most, but it is definitely a hard-hitting scene where Lucy goes to the house of the people that were torturing her and blows them all away with the shotgun. It's a family. It's a guy, a husband, wife, son and daughter, blows them away with the shotgun. The original movie, way better cinematography, way better effects, way more graphic in the original movie. This movie, there was a lot of CGI going on in this scene, but it was still pretty much scene for scene of the shotgun scene from the original movie. Blows them away, and they end up staying in this house. Like Anna comes over to the house, they end up staying in this house and kind of trying to figure out what's going on. A bunch of stuff starts happening, and they figure out that there's this torture chamber basically in the bed of the house, in the bottom of the house. There's basically like a deep cavern in the house, almost like a fallout shelter, and there's a torture chamber down there from where they're torturing people. I'm not going to give away the ending to the movie because I don't want to spoil this review for anybody. I will say later on in the movie, and I won't give any spoilers away with this. This doesn't really give anything away. Later on in the movie, there are significant changes from the original movie. Pretty much from the first half of the movie, it is pretty much shot for shot exactly the way the original is. It's shot for shot with a lot of less graphic visuals, there's a lot less practical effects. There's a lot more CGI, CGI blood. It's really not that bad. When it gets to the second half and on, there are a lot of significant changes that I'm assuming that were written into this because it was remade and there was a different writer, which personally I didn't really care for. But I'll go ahead and get my thoughts of the movie. Overall, the movie, for the most part, the first half of the movie, it wasn't that bad. It was, like I said, it was shot for shot, exactly like the original. There really wasn't anything different. Same exact storyline. When we got into the second part of the movie, there were significant changes, as in specific things didn't happen to specific people, and there was a lot of differences. They changed did a lot of weird change arounds. There's a lot of things that were changed that were really unnecessary to change, and I really kind of got bored in the second half of this movie. I just was like, wow, this is really not what expected. And they changed. Some of it was shot for shot still, like the ending scene was shot for shot, but certain things in the ending scene didn't happen to certain people that should have happened to certain people from the original, and I just didn't really understand the whole point of changing that up. I mean, in my opinion, the original was, if they would have just done a shot for shot the whole movie, I mean, they already did half the movie, just done it the whole rest of the movie, I wouldn't have had really many problems with the movie, many problems with the remake, but they decided not to do that. I mean, overall, it really wasn't a horrible remake. It wasn't like anything that was that bad. I kind of went into it with zero expectations. I was like, I'm going to really hate this. I didn't hate it. I really didn't think it was that bad. I mean, the way it was directed was very well directed. The acting in it was very well done. The only problem I really had with it was the writing. I didn't really understand the whole point of changing up the ending to it. I mean, it kind of ended the same way the original did, but there was little things here and there that did change that made no sense why they would even change it. it was just kind of dumb. Like, and it was stuff that was honestly, they didn't have to change it. It didn't, like, even the changes didn't really matter. It just kind of were like, they just stood out to me because I've gone in depth with the original movie. Overall, I gave this movie a 6 out of 10. I didn't think it was a bad remake whatsoever, but at the same time, I felt like it was an unnecessary remake. There really was no point in remaking Martyrs. I mean, even with the dubbing on it, I've actually said this on the podcast. I've watched this movie every time I've watched it. I love reading subtitles. 70% of the movies I watch have subtitles. Honestly, the dubbing for this movie, if you actually turn it on my DVD, it's actually on when you pop it in the DVD player. The dubbing actually for this movie is really not bad, and I hate dubbing. I completely and utterly cannot stand dubbing. This movie and the movie Inside, which are two French extreme films, have good dubbing. Like, the actual voice acting for the dubbing is pretty good. Like, I honestly have watched this movie. I've never watched this movie with the subtitles on. I got lazy and never wanted to turn them off. But the dubbing for this movie really is not that bad. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the complaints with these remakes of foreign films is that people don't want to read subtitles. I don't know if that's the full truth or not. I kind of suspect that it may be a little bit, but I think mostly most directors and writers want to capture, they see there's a big cult following for a movie and they want to recapture it, which is, for this movie, I just felt like it was very unnecessary, and I did not like the changes at the end of the movie at all. I just thought they were just really unnecessary and dumb. And also, it was, going back to saying that it was a shot for shot in the first half, it was a shot for shot in the first half of the movie with a lot less violence and a lot less graphic nature, which, as a moviegoer for myself, Martyrs is an extreme movie. It's considered an extreme movie. It's on a lot of disturbing movie lists. I'm all about disturbing movies and seeing disturbing movie lists and going through them and watching the movies. And I look for that graphic nature, and I want something that's going to pull me in and enthrall me and make me feel uncomfortable throughout the movie. The remake to this movie did not do that whatsoever. It was very dumbed down on the violence. I mean, toward the end, there's a part where spoiler alert, there's a part toward the end with skinning where they skin somebody. They still did it in this movie in the remake, but it was a lot less graphic and almost looked fake in a way. It looked kind of dumb. It was so up close to the body, and while they were doing it, it just didn't look right. So overall, give it a 6 out of 10. Check it out if you guys want. I mean, I highly recommend the original before I recommend going through the remake. This movie, for me, is a 10 out of 10. The remake's a 6 out of 10. There's really nothing in this movie that needs to be redone. If you get this movie, you don't want to read the subtitles, put the dubbing on. Honestly, the dubbing really isn't that bad. So check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe to my page. I just did a video review for a movie Intruders that just came out this year. It's gotten a good bit of views on my channel. So check that out. That was the last review I did. Check out my podcast. I do an X-Files podcast. I just wrapped up an Ash vs. the Evil Dead podcast, and I also guest on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. So I'm doing a lot of podcasts. I only guest on the 22 Shots podcast here and there, but we just wrapped up the Ilsa podcast where we covered all the Ilsa trilogy movies, which some of those are on the Video Nasties list. And also, I will be coming out, the Ash vs. Evil Dead podcast is done, the X-Files podcast is kind of on hold. I will be starting a Disturbing Movies podcast, so be on the lookout for that. I'll be uploading those videos to my channel. So check them out. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe to the page. Share this video if you can. Till next time, peace.